Hello, I am Couch Coop and we are going to talk about the new Returnal patch. New trailer out, loving that hand reaching for the pad. In real life that should be a shaky, slightly bruised and stressed, finger-bitten hand, but you know. We are going to talk about what's covered in this particular patch, and of course I'm always on tenterhooks to find out what these guys are doing with the back end of this game. Balance, changes, drops, tile ratios, you know the deal. There's a lot that could be changed, but we've just got a photo mode. And we've also got a suspend cycle mode. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that you can actually pause the game mid-run. The runs on this game are like an hour and a half. Anyone my age, kids, family, does not have time to sit down for an unpaused, grueling 3-hour run that will go in the bin if you start any other game up or something happens to the machine. What's the photo mode like? I had a little look. On a slightly different subject, I've been on the Housemarque site and on their YouTube page today, and I noticed this game called Storm Divers, which looks pretty cancelled, but is basically the blueprint for Returnal, and it had a jetpack, and it looked like it was multiplayer. I was really interested. That main character model is kind of identical, right? They must have ditched this, 2018, and gone on to do a single-player game like Returnal, so really interesting that this game's kind of been in the pipeline longer than I thought. That's also me wrestling with my dire internet connection. Also, I had to find the trailer for the new patch, and guess who gave it to me? Yeah, IGN, and not Housemarque's YouTube page, which they've obviously just dumped. What the hell's that all about? Actually, on the subject of the additions, as you probably all are bored to the back teeth with, but my photo modes are not used for static images. I like to pan around the camera around, and it helps me work out what the frame rates are like, assets, models. Jerky as hell on this, jerky as hell. I can't actually do a nice 360 pan without it juddering too much to even warrant a capture. Hopefully that will get sorted out. There's two things that wind me up about this game. Is it's got super sampling and scaling in it, and a lot of sites march around saying that it's 4K, and it's not. It's 1080. It uploads at 1080, and that super sampling and upscaling, be it checkerboarding and very good, is not 4K, and it is peg 60. But once you put that photo mode on, oof, something changes. Be very interested to see what that runs at. Actually, Digital Foundry, it's a job for you. Where am I up to the game and how do I find it? A lot of you may not realise my history with this game or Housemarque, and I'm not going to bore you with the details, but I haven't actually officially reviewed this game because I haven't actually got past stage 1, and I'm not prepared to put out much content on latter game without actually playing it. 3.5 hours today, 6 o'clock to 9:30, about 4 runs at the first boss, and yeah, no joy. And please put in the comments what I'm doing wrong. Don't melee, keep your distance. If you watch the speed run of this game, all that guy does is melee thrike right up in the face he is all the time. I know that's not the way to do it, but that's my dilemma with this whole system. The run up to Thrike is too grueling for me. It's about 40 minutes, 35 minutes, isn't it, to get your weapon proficiency up? Let's say 20 minutes. So my 4 attempts, that's well over an hour, and there's no layered accomplishments after death, and it's a very important pillar for a good roguelike, is to keep giving you little things to help you combat your problem. Just interjecting here because I noticed that scout corpse alert on the replay, and that's someone finding one of my bodies, isn't it, and killing the sort of demon and then getting some reward, and I'm notified of that. They should give you full health when that happens. There's another online game where if your corpse is revenged online, you get some reward in real time for it. And it was like a really cool random, I think it was near, that would have been perfect at this point. So back to the reward system, and the more you play, the easier said problem becomes, and then you overcome it. It's a great loop, but for this it's just a horrible brick wall for me. And the run up to getting to Thrike used to be amazing. It was one of the best experiences on the PlayStation 5 for me. I am still in love with this game. Can you believe I'm still going back to it? I've owned it since day of launch. We're on month 4, surely. I love it. It's aesthetic, its gameplay, and housemarque so much that I'm not deterred. It's going to last me years, quite literally, and I will overcome this first boss. It's got to a ridiculous pressure stage now. Look at this footage. Sometimes my runs are just, I know I'm not going to get there, so it's like I just chuck it in the bin. You know there's something up with your gameplay loop if it's better to chuck it in the bin than have a good shot at a boss. I also think, more importantly, the problem is probably with me, because of my large roguelike catalogue and love for the genre, and comparing this to that kind of puts me off Returnal a bit. And of course, I'm not a younger guy, and my reaction speed is just not what it used to be, and neither is my patience. And I think that front end to the build-up of Thrike is just that little bit too much for me. But now we've got the pause, mid-run stuff. I can step away and take some deep breaths, or even play something else and come back to it. You're always really locked in with this, and that was also quite intense. Despite a lot of this gameplay footage, I deep down know I'm not crap at this game. I just need to understand a lot of the malfunctions and how the perks and power-ups really work when things come into play. That was the first time I've ever used a consumable and it worked. You see that purple thing coming up? That's the first time I've ever used a consumable that genuinely worked and helped me. If you've just got your PlayStation 5 and you're watching this thinking, oh, it's a PlayStation exclusive and it looks kind of cool, it totally is all of those things, and it is a fantastic single player game. This is going to last me a very long time, but not for the reasons I want it to. Again, the longevity will be in the latter levels. There'll be more DLC and content coming, and I wonder if they will do more with this online system. Although there were no mentions of things other than pause and a photo mode in those new patch notes, I think that there is still a lot more busyness going on these tiles in the game. It's probably overspilled from 1.4, but everything's more lively, loads more lights, loads more of those grunt style enemies, and a lot more interesting drops and finding new things in new rooms. As mentioned before, that procedural generation is such a pull, and there's never the same system with the map tiles and enemy random drops, so there's so much to go back to. I'm going to leave you alone. I have been couch coop. Maybe it's time I had a son or a prodigy, someone with quicker reactions than these old hands. See you there!